Bill paid for the car damage. He was very angry about the accident. What word will you use to connect these two sentences? You might use the word but. But I suggest that we have many other alternatives except but, and because to connect sentences. If you want to learn different words to connect ideas and sentences, then stay tuned and keep watching. My name is Michelle. So let's start with the first one that we have. Similarly, we can use this word to connect ideas when we want to compare two things that have the same idea. Okay, so similarly actually comes from an English word similar, which means same. Let me give you an example. What is the cause of heart disease? I mean, if someone has a heart attack, there could be two reasons. The first could be family history, which means someone in their family may have had a heart attack earlier, or else they might be really overweight or having too much alcohol. So if you want to connect these two ideas using similarly, you can do it. I'll show you how. So you can say that family history is a reason for heart disease. Similarly, being overweight or having too much alcohol also contributes to heart disease. So here I've used the word similarly to connect two ideas that have the same reason or the same purpose. So you can use similarly to connect two ideas with the same purpose. Okay, with that we look at the next one. Comparable with. So if you are trying to compare two things, are you? Comparable with is actually used to compare only one thing to others. Okay, it comes from an English word, compare. So do you know any singer that you like so much that you think no one else is better than her? If you know any such singer, you could say Celine Dion is not comparable with anyone else, which means that she's the best. So you can use comparable with when you want to say that someone is the best. You could say not comparable with. You can replace with the word to. You could say Celine Dion is not comparable to anyone else, which means she's the best. We have connected two ideas here, that you really like Celine Dion and she's the best. Okay, now the next one that we have is in contrast. Contrast means opposite, all right? So what is the color of the board? It's white, right? And what's the color of my marker? That's black. So black and white are a contrast, which means they are opposites. Think of a situation where you can think of two opposite things. Well, if you have clear blue skies and thunderstorm, these are two opposites, two contrasts, two different situations. And if you're on an island where you have clear blue skies, but on the other side of the sky you can see there's a thunderstorm coming, you could say that I can see the clear blue skies in contrast to the thunderstorm on the other side. So here you're comparing two different situations. To compare two different situations. But what if you have to compare two things about the same situation? Are you getting confused? Don't get confused. I'll give you an example. So I really want to buy a horse because I enjoy riding. But the problem is that it's really hard to take care of the animal. So how do I join these two ideas? It's the same situation. I love horses, but it's hard for me to take care of one. So I will join this by using, on the other hand, I would say, I really enjoy riding, so I want to buy a horse. On the other hand, it's really hard to take care of the animal. Think of a coin. It's just one coin, but it has two sides. The same way, on the other hand, is used to compare two different ideas in the same situation. two problems in same situation. With this, we move on. And here we have for example. You have heard me use this term throughout all my lessons. Whenever I explain something to you, I always use for example to make it easy for you to understand. So if you're writing an exam or if you're speaking to someone to help them understand what you're trying to say, you should use this word. So this word is obviously used to give a lot of examples. So I'm going to give you an example to show how to use for example. So my example is, I love playing musical instruments, okay? So I'd say that I play a few musical instruments, for example, guitar, violin, and drums. So here I'm using for example to describe and tell which instruments do I play. You can also use for instance, such as I play a few musical instruments such as guitar, violins, and drums. And very commonly we also use like. I play a few musical instruments like guitar, drums, and violin. Okay, now we look at the next one. In the meantime. So this one is used to talk about a time limit, okay? But it talks about a time limit between two incidents, okay? So let's say that your phone crashed and you've sent it for repair. But until it comes back, what do? You need a phone. So you could say that my phone has crashed. In the meantime, I will use your phone. So here you're giving two situations. Your phone broke down and it's going to come back in some time. For that time, you will use Jude's phone. So in the meantime is used for two incidents. Okay, now we have the next one for time being. While we use in the meantime for two incidents, we use for time being only for a set time limit. An example for this would be, leave the cleaning for the time being, I'll do it later, which means that for this time limit, do not clean, I'll do it later. So for the time being is used for a time limit. Okay, now as you remember, I started the lesson with Bill when I said that Bill paid for the car damage. He was very angry about the incidents or about the accident. How do you join these two sentences? I'll repeat myself and we have only one more option. Try to fill this in. So Bill paid for the car damage. At the same time, he was very angry about the accident. So when you feel two things at a time, that's when you use at the same time. When you feel, so Bill paid for the car damage at the same time he was very angry about the accident. Now we are going to quickly go through what we have learned today. And the first one is similarly. This is used to talk about the similarities. And comparable with is used to talk about how amazing somebody is and that they are the best. The next two that we have, in contrast, this is used to talk about an opposite in the same, in two different situations. For example, thunderstorm and clear blue skies are two different situations. And if you're trying to talk about these two at the same time, you could say, I can see the clear blue skies in contrast to the thunderstorm. The next one that we have is on the other hand, and you use this to talk about two sides of the same problem. For example is very clear, we always use it, you could replace it with for instance, and the other three are usually used to talk about time. So here you have a lot of transition words, and next time when you want to connect ideas, even when you're writing or speaking, you can use these and talk more fluently. So thank you so much for watching this lesson with me. Come back for more. Till then, you take care. Bye-bye.